In light of my upcoming workshop, Free to Feel, I thought I would share with you a little bit about my journey to learning how to feel my emotions. I was a deeply feeling child. I was highly sensitive, didn't know it. That wasn't part of the lexicon at the time. And as I got older, my emotions got bigger and bigger, and I didn't really have any context for what I was feeling. I was very rebellious, I was very loud, I would fight with my parents all the time. It created a really tumultuous environment in my household, which created, more shame. But my emotions were so big that I didn't really have the option on a soul level for me to squash them. So they would come up and they would come out. And a lot of times, it was a lot of anger that I projected towards my parents. We would get in big fights with them, go to my room, slam the door, and then just start sobbing. I had a great well of grief living within me, and a lot of feelings of aloneness and ultimately despair. And once I got into my early 20s, I started to become more numb. So it wasn't until I was probably, around 27 or 28 when my grandmother passed away, when I recognized that I was numb. I was not able to access my grief. And though I wasn't particularly close with my grandmother, it was my mother's mother. My mother was walking her casket down the aisle of the church, and I was at the end of the pew, and I could see my entire family, and all of them were crying, witnessing my mother's pain, and I felt nothing. And that was a moment for me that was signifying that it didn't really equate to my past experiences. I had always been somebody who was deeply emotional and connected to my sadness, and I just couldn't feel it. So around, I don't know how old I was, I think I was 28 or something like that, but in my late 20s, I basically ended up finding breath work. And when I found breath work, I started to chip away at some of what I was feeling, some of what had been stored into my body, and a lot of that began to make more sense to me. So as some of the emotion began to come up to the surface, there was this sense of catharsis. It felt really good to be connected to my emotions again and allowing them to move through me. And that began my self-love journey. And then I went through a blindsiding breakup.